do it right now.
This guy has so much fucking. You know that it's balls, but he's so good. He can't even use the ball.
What you don't like to do?
Talking about Kyle. Does Mark even know Kyle?
I don't think Mark is.
Probably knows Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't.
Kyle Williams. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
No, I used to think that was
a little kid, bro. He's fucking underage, bro. No. You really want to know? Okay. So I just wrecked his spot. Yes, we are. Yo, for what it's worth, that was my reaction.
When he told me, I was like, what?
Attention, you are now tuned in to Pass the Controller.
Game on. Round table, show me your moves.
Tell these noobs get good and get in the groove.
Gears of war like Sonic hopping the tuck.
You don't want the smoke, you'll get bodied by big nuts.
Come for the character, stay for the content.
Stands from the elite to the civic binding.
Conventions are streamed, the topics deceased.
Tell them tune in, peace and hair grease.
Let's go, baby.
Peace and hair grease.
Pass that, pass that, pass that, pass the controller. Pass that, pass that, pass that, pass the controller. Pass that, pass that, pass that, pass the controller. Pass that, pass that, pass that, pass the controller.
What it do, PTC Nation? You know what it is, man. It is a brand new episode of Pass Controller. Happy September, man. We're in the fall season, man. Summer is over, kiddies. I know. Summer's over. I know y'all mad. Y'all going back to school. Good. Because it's more time for us to be online on multiplayer games because y'all be crowding out the multiplayer sessions and all that stuff. So we back in it, baby. I'm glad y'all in school. Let's go. You already know who it is. I am McNucks, the saltiest gamer ever, man. I'm just so happy y'all kids are back in school, man, so I can get my win count up, man. And we are live right now with the crew. What up, Siv? How you been, man? What's going on, cuz?
You know, man, I admire your energy, man. You got more energy when you're sick than I do when I'm well. That's insane to me. Insane. But yeah, man, I can't believe this year. Oh man, this roller coaster ride, man, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. My heart can't take it. The excitement, the disappointment, the love and the hate in the industry, and the failures and the successes, and oh my gosh, what a year. This is definitely not 2023. So I'm kind of glad it's sort of wrapping up here pretty soon. But man, we got still a couple months left. But yeah, before we get to all that, man, I am so excited to announce my buddy, friend, compatriot, my man who was co-hosting all the panels with me this past weekend at RetroCon in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Amazing time. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the myth, legend, Eric the Smoke Moran.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Look.
I got three.
It's guys. Drama and then drama and then drama and soap
drama.
opera in the video game industry. Not only that, you got dogs and cats living together, roaches and ants, having wild orgy parties. You know, it's crazy. And also, we had a full house for RetroCon for PTC. We had a time of our lives. We had a lot of fun. There's a lot to cover tonight, and man, let's just get started because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, listen, but you know, I forgot that y'all had a panel. I wasn't there. I was at another convention, doing it up, and of course, like Siv said, man, I got sick from that. I got COVID currently right now. Man,
wait, what convention were you at? So I know to stay with.
No, I can't out that convention because I can't. No, we're not going to talk. I was at a awesome convention. I would definitely go again.
I think he went to Virus Fest 2020.
There you go. Exactly. I did go to Virus Fest. Yeah. Nah, like I said, I'm just recovering from COVID right now, man. I should be good with some soup and some salty pretzels and ginger ale. That's the black remedy right there, man. So I should be all right.
What about the Tussin?
The Tussin? Robitussin? Oh, God. Great flavor.
Does everything.
Yeah. And listen, that would be...
And look, it'll even help our hair grow back. I mean,
I wish.
I've already done it with a beard. Look.
I wish.
Right here.
What if
I wish. Dog, I swear to God, if that happens, I'll be sipping Tussin on a margarita glass all day, man. Just got my hair back, dude. Like seriously,
no, I think
man.
You're supposed to rub it into your scalp.
Yeah, you gotta rub it.
Miracle Grow?
Man, I mean, look, you can always join our club, Mark. Always join the club.
No hair for club, man. Oh, listen, I can't with that.
The no hair club for men.
Oh, no hair club for men. Listen, listen, we got a fun episode. We know how we do it, chat. We're gonna just BS like crazy, man, because that's what we do here every freaking month for the past 7 years, 6 years, 7 years, man. We always do that for y'all. 7 years, man.
Prison time.
Exactly, man. Exactly. This is Pass Controller. First of all, I want to tell y'all something. Real quick, man, because there's going to be a lot of things happening. Of course, we're getting closer to the Game Awards. You know, we already have our Game of the Year watch and all that stuff, too. You know, we got a new contender in Astro Boy, man. Smoke still talk about Black Myth Wukong, but I think Astro Boy is sneaking up, man. I feel like there's a lot of people. We talked about it so much, man. We're going to talk about next episode, getting closer to the Game Awards, what the solidified vote for all of us will be, because there's a couple games that's coming out that I'm still looking forward to, Sonic and Shadow Generations.
When's Concord coming out? I'm still waiting
for
that.
Oh, my God, man.
Where's Concord?
Concord should have been.
Hey, listen.
I can't wait to talk about that because
I was out of town for a couple of days. Did I miss it? Did it happen already?
It happened so quick that PlayStation was so happy that they took it off everyone's system.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's a rest in peace of Concord.
See what happens when you miss out.
That's horrible.
They did give everyone free money. They gave everyone free money back. You know,
dude.
So we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that later. Listen, rest in peace, Concord. I mean, listen, they tried. You know what I mean? They tried. PlayStation knew what they was doing, I guess, man.
Hey, look, PTC's coming out with a game.
I wish.
A TV version of the game. Nick is an unlockable character.
Exactly. Because, I mean, I already look like one.
Do you know how dope a PTC game would be, though? If we had a 4-player beat 'em up with us, just like running through a convention hall and just trying to protect the people coming in.
Oh my God!
You know, ticket scalpers and all
the toxicators.
Yeah. You'd have an inappropriate cosplay toucher. Then we defend the cosplayers.
Oh, dude!
And then we get a guy, the boss, at the end of level 2.
Oh no, we have the
he
boss.
Doesn't like to wear deodorant, so we got to get deodorant on.
We have one of the ultimate bosses, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Criticize every 5 minutes.
Yo,
the guy that comes out with all the helpful hints, like, when you phrase a question a particular way, host the panel, what I prefer to see would be some. I'm like,
dude, yo, here's you know what? Shout out to the chat. Chat's going on early. Waka says the day that they make a Razzie Awards for video games. You know what's so funny? We still got our annual PTC award show, man, as well, man, where we always give out the worst video game. Actually, do we ever have a worst video game category?
Not yet, but we will now.
What we do is we have a category that's like biggest disappointment of the year.
Yeah.
Or something. But we don't target a bad game per se.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'm so torn on that because it's like there are big games I don't like, but it's like I don't want to go like making enemies of a studio. Like I'll say if a game is good or bad, but to really to win an award and kind of mock a game being bad, I always feel bad about that. It's like, come on, man. I never made a game, so it's tough for me to like really go at somebody's throat for that. But I get it. I just gotta tread lightly sometimes. Like I wouldn't be, because it's too easy to like kick a game like Concord when it's down, right? Like wouldn't that win the game? Like the worst game is the one that only lasted like
for a few seconds, man. Like the best worst game is Anthem. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. You know?
Yeah. And I mean it's funny because like the worst game would have been like No Man's Sky. And now you play No Man's Sky today. And it's like Game of the Year contender.
Exactly.
It went from worst to first. That is a game that just
actually, you know what's so funny? I would love to. I go lie. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
I think that's probably like an accolade that anybody would love to have would be to hold up the worst game of the year and the game of the year. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, my game was worst game of the year at one point, and then all with the tweaks and all that too. Yep. Now I'm game of the year. I think I would love to do that as a developer.
The greatest comeback video game.
Exactly. I feel like that would be like a really cool achievement. I would put both of those awards next to each other, man. I'm saying like, yo, for real, that'd be cool. You know, I feel like having like the worst video game award.
We might have to do something. I like Taka's idea. So I'm not saying we definitely wouldn't do it, but we just got to do it a certain way.
Nah, we gotta go balls to the wall and say, yo, this game sucks. But then like, yo, then we'll be wrong, we'll be humble, and then we'll have like our humbling moment on the show. Like, yeah, I did say it sucked, but you know what though, this game is the best thing. You know what I'm saying?
If a game is really, really bad though, chances are I probably didn't buy it. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, I wasn't really looking at Concord, so I can't say if it was good or bad. I know it's.
But you know, the funny thing is now they're trying to sell it on eBay, the physical.
Oh yeah.
For like $2,000.
Yeah, and I know why, because I'm telling you right now, man, it's one of those horrible games where it's like you got to have it on your shelf. You know what I'm saying? To say like I lived through this, man, and 20 years, you be like, yo, this game was so corny. You know what I'm saying? Here. You got to play this game. It's one of those games that's like, yo, I don't know what it is.
Can I ask a real question?
Yeah.
If we're really going to talk about Concord, let me ask you for real, because I did not play Concord. I didn't buy Concord. It wasn't really on my radar. Was Concord a bad game, or was it just poorly timed? Because when they started making when that game was conceived, it was 8 years ago. They were trying to get on the whole Overwatch kick, right? So that game was in production for 8 years, and apparently cost. And I can't confirm this, but it's the number I always hear. It cost apparently over $100 million to make.
Yeah.
If it's even close to that, that's astonishing. But 8-year production cycle, maybe, I don't know, $100 million. Yeah. Was it a bad game? Or was it just like it
was also merged with these reviewers that are trying to look for every kind of click, that are trying to say, well, it's DEI influenced and all that crap, and I hate that. Well, because the characters, they basically, a lot of people were complaining because it's like you're jamming down a narrative in people's throats.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I believe in when it comes to games overall, let the game stand for itself. You should not have to, highlight a character because of their color or their gender. The game should speak for itself. It shouldn't matter what the character looks like. But when you're emphasizing that and they're trying to heavily push that narrative, you're going to have a lot of haters and using that to weaponize and saying, well, DEI is a weaponized name and blah, blah, blah. So when you say that and you add that with a game, to the consumer, it's like, oh, well, it's a politically charged game. It's pushing a narrative. I don't want to play a push narrative game. I just want to play a game.
I literally thought it was just like a Overwatch kind of,
like, to me.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't. Maybe I'm just oblivious. I didn't look at the game like that. I don't know that much about it.
Because
I'm so shocked that's what people would glean from that. Like,
there's a lot of games that was what like a lot of these games that are coming out. You know, unfortunately, you have a lot of idiots out there that complain, to have something to complain about. Like, you got Assassin's Creed coming out, and I understand that. People are going to have their viewpoints and they're entitled to it, but to just call a game woke and not know what the definition of woke really truly means and just saying it just to get views, or to say DEI and not really know what the name or what the definition behind it is, and just try to demonize it and then throw it into it and say, but then also you have these individuals out here that are pushing this narrative in the games and trying to jam it down your throat. So that's not helping it none. So you're basically, while you're trying to make a message, you're losing the message because you're trying to heavily push it instead of just letting it just play it for itself and let people make up their own decision and not hold them by their hand. Gamers are not stupid.
Yeah. Like, you gotta wonder,
smart enough to know the difference between, hey, there's a message in it without heavily.
Like, what if Street Fighter 2 came out today? And would people be mad? Be like, I can't believe you had a Japanese sumo wrestler, because that's woke.
Yeah.
I think if the game came out, today, if Street Fighter came out today, and you weren't just pushing just certain characters, but you're pushing the whole entire crew and you're showing the storyline, people would be more on board with it. Like, look at like if that was the case, people would complain about Street Fighter 2. I mean, new Street Fighter game, Mortal Kombat, but no one's doing it. And there are certain games that are out that people are on board with. The unfortunate thing is because you have certain companies that are using those terms that I've used earlier to get ahead, to try to make themselves sound, look, we're productive, and they're treating it like a lot of the industry, the gaming industry, is trying to become like a movie industry, and they're just thinking that this is what we think that the audience wants, and not asking the actual audience what they really want. And that's what's unfortunate, because it's starting to happen now. We see it in the movie industry, and people are starting to realize that when you give the fans what they want, you're going to make money.
Yeah.
You don't give the fans what they want, it's going to be complete trash and garbage.
Is there an element? Is there an element to it though that, like, because gaming is so global now, and because you have such a vast diversity of people who play games now, that there has to be at least some semblance of, I don't want to say pandering, but a responsibility for inclusion, to say, hey, you know, like, if I'm gonna sell this game in South America, we know that there, you know, that's going to be a Latino contingent. That's, you know, and you have to kind of almost say, like, let's include a character that at least would be like, we know that people there play this game, and it would be cool if they had a character that they can sort of relate with. I personally, I don't need a character that looks like me to play the game.
Well, that's
like
Overwatch.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I agree, and that's my whole point. Is like, where's the line drawn between, is it just, is it pandering, or is it genuine sensibility? Like, and
it's pandering to me. It's, in my opinion, it's pandering when you're emphasizing that person's gender or their ethnicity instead of just telling the story. I've said this for years. You can put out a good game, a good movie, if you're just telling the story. If you're just telling it and you're not focused on anything, but hey, we're just telling the story. We're not emphasizing this, that, and the other. You're showing we got this one character, but you're showing the multi-range of all different characters. You're not, there's this game that came out, I wanted to get it as a third person, but it's too, to me, I don't like games that are pushing a narrative. I just want a game that I can play and I can make up my own mind. I don't need someone to hold their hand and think for me. If you got it, like you just said, you have a game that's going to be played in a certain country. Like, we got games that are coming from the Asian countries and all, but we know that's heavily Asian, you know, but yet you have maybe one or two characters that are not Asian. Guess what? I'm not going to care, because as long as you tell me the story, I'll be able to see those characters there and I'll be able to enjoy the game. But when you're saying, look, we're pushing this character, and it's like, and again, there's a way you can do it. Like The Last of Us, everybody liked the first Last of Us because it was a straight story.
Right.
You didn't care if it was a female lead. You didn't care. It was the dynamics between Joel, the father and daughter dynamic. You didn't care that who was the lead. Tomb Raider, when the early days of Tomb Raider came out, you didn't care that was a female character. You just wanted to play the game.
Yeah.
There were games out there, just like Warhammer. There are games like there that are either certain driven without having you being told. I think what it is that some of these companies, I think they're not using their brain housing group enough to say, hey, we don't have to hold these people by their hand. They're smart enough to know and pick up on, I don't know, even with GTA, like they're pushing this, you know, female lead, but you don't know if it's a female lead, but they're pushing, you know, they're pushing the game out. They're giving you just the world itself, but people are making their own assumptions. But no one's saying that, well, this is going to be lead. You just showed this female character with this male character. I didn't care what was going on. I just said, okay, I just want to see when the game comes out. When you have Saints Row, the last Saints Row game that came out, we'll use that as an example. They were really pushing a narrative in the last Saints Row game. Why? And it turned off a lot of people, including myself.
When you say narrative, do you mean agenda? I just want to ask, because I think
the narrative and agenda, you can call it what it is, because people are going to make up their own minds when they see it. But when the way I saw it, when I looked at the last Saints Row game compared to the other ones, I didn't care if the character was Asian, Johnny Gat was Asian or not. I didn't care. The fact that I just cared that it was a great story and it was crazy. But you wanted to try to do this generational thing and all this stuff, and you were pushing it hard to the audience instead of just saying, "Hey, this is another Saints Row game. We got all these crazy characters and all this stuff." But we got this person, and I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm burned out from that. I just want to I just want to have fun.
Yeah, see, when you feed that perspective, man, again, I like to go back to the example of Overwatch. You know what I'm saying? Overwatch was the game that the inclusive as far as, including everybody from like, different races or ethnicities or just sexuality perhaps as well too. You know what I mean? In a game. And what was the difference between Overwatch and Concord, man? You know what I'm saying? It was like that era, everybody was, I guess in this generation, everybody was slowly getting like, oh, this person's just like me. Right. I get that. I feel like Concord was trying to be like Overwatch, but like you said, Smoke, that forcefulness, man, of like, yo, but put it on your face.
And here's another thing. The difference is between Concord and Overwatch. Overwatch was smart enough to put out these stories.
Yes.
They gave you a concrete storyline about these group of heroes, soldiers, and then they did individual stories. So it wasn't just this character or female lead character. It was around
collective,
the world, collective group of individuals from all different backgrounds, all different races, genders, and people were on board with the game because it was an action-packed game. You got a chance to get behind these characters because you got a little bit of a storyline. Here with Concord, it was just, hey, we're another Guardians of the Galaxy, or wait, are we Overwatch? Or wait, hey, look, I'm a female.
On the topic of like the narrative, let me ask you, because there's another scenario playing out right now with Ubisoft and the next Assassin's Creed game, where they have one of the two playable characters is Yosuke, who was of African descent, who was in the late 15th century. For people that aren't aware of the story, he was essentially a samurai who worked directly for the Emperor of Japan at the time. It was for about a 15-month period. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Yosuke. So I noticed like Assassin's Creed. Listen, I'm very critical of Ubisoft sometimes, but not because of the content of their games, more or less because of the quality of the game. That's a whole other subject. I don't really always feel like they put out the best high quality product. But I noticed like online there was a lot of backlash, and they're like, he wasn't real, or he wasn't actually a samurai. He was a retainer, and this is factually untrue. And I'm like, it's Assassin's Creed, man.
Yeah.
Like, Assassin's Creed is such a mixed bag, that franchise, because early on it wanted to be like super reflective of historical accounts. And then it would add like this sci-fi twist to it. And over time, it's morphed into like a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. So I was like really kind of taken aback. I'm like, wow, is this really like, why are you mad about that?
Well, also,
I don't get that. Like,
it's the era of the climate, because if you remember when Black Flag came out, you had an assassin that was a slave that became an assassin. You had an Egyptian assassin. You had a Native American, or should I say indigenous assassin that basically, and everybody loved those games. But at the same time, it was a different climate then. It was a different mentality.
Was it a better mentality?
It was a what?
Was it a better mentality?
Oh, hell yeah. It was a way better.
That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for.
It was a way better.
Okay.
Like unfortunately, we have a lot of immature people out here that can't distinguish the difference between a game and trying to use clicks and trying to get notoriety because you wanted to say certain things. And it's unfortunate because, I mean, it can go down to a deep rabbit hole, but it's unfortunate because people are using labels to get clicks and to get acknowledged for shock value. Instead of just judging a game on its merits, on what it can do and what it can bring in the storyline, the problem is now they're like, look, it's a character of color. Where before that wasn't important. That was never an important thing. It was like, can you tell me a good story? Now, if, it's too many males in the game, or it's not enough people of color, or it's not enough women in the game, I'm like, yo, give me a break. Just tell me a story. I don't care.
Yeah.
But again,
well, that's like we talked about Black Myth Wukong with some people. There was, it's a story that's a period piece. So that's why I was kind of funny with it. People are complaining that there wasn't a lot of representation. But then I had to remember from my people, I'm like, it specifically takes place at a slice of time in a very specific geographic area that probably was not very diverse at that time because it was
No.
generally unexplored. There
Yeah.
were not there was nobody else there. These were the people, these were the characters. So it's just like I mean
it's
it's
just
not
like-
it's not anti DEI, it's not anti-diversity.
No.
No, it's just how things were. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
mean,
just like-
so on
it's-
one hand, people get mad because one game is too realistic, right? And then some people get mad because it's not realistic enough and doesn't depict the truth. They're like, there's no like pleasing.
There's no
game.
pleasing.
No,
Nah,
there's
you're
no
right. There's no
pleasing.
pleasing. You got to fix the facts. Every game is no pleasing anybody. It's regardless.
and it's unfortunate because there's so many, like with Warhammer, people on like, and I understand like I know we're going to talk about this, but Warhammer, what people don't realize, been around for over 30, 40 years.
Yep.
And when you're changing certain lore, it was always with the idea of these characters are because of this, and they have a backstory of explaining why you have all these male characters, why you have a male run group, and why, and they give you the backstory. The fact that you have people that are mad because there's no female characters, even though they do have a female sect that are Marines, not Space Marines, but there are like, and I'm just kind of like, really do your research before you jump on it's not this, it's not that. But I know we're going to talk more about Warhammer, so I just had to bring that up. But again, until people use enough common sense and stop drinking and taking stupid pills, we're going to continue having idiots trying to get clicks and acknowledge that, look, I was the one who, and also you're going to have to, when you have these influencer companies that are trying to push their little agenda in a video game that normally was all right. Like I used Spider-Man 2 because there was a certain group, and I'm not going to give them their props or anything, or give them props or any kind of stuff, but there's this advisory group that, we need to make this more inclusive. And every game they touched, 95% of the games they touched went under, and you wonder why. Suicide Squad being one of them. So again, with Spider-Man 2, it was on the cusp. I love Spider-Man 2, but when you're doing that, you're alienating certain other individuals that love just video games, and you're turning off the message. When you're trying to put out a message and you're trying to jam it down people's throats and you're trying to hold them by their hand, you lose the message and you end up turning people off. And in some cases, you turn them against what you're trying to put out there. So it's best that you subtly introduce these things.
I mean, I know that idiot, moron, racist people and things, and that kind of sentiment is tale as old as time, and it's deeply upsetting to me. I realize it's been around forever, but it seems only in recent years, I mean very recent, that it's sort of like this thing that's pervasive throughout every single discussion. Like when Deathloop came out only a few years ago, your main group of characters were people of color. You play as a person of color. The main, I say antagonist, that's a loose term for this person, but it's also a person of color. And not once during playing did I think like that detracts or even adds to the game. It's a non-factor. It's not something that is integral to the story, but it's just a creative.
I think it was more or less people talk more about the gameplay than they did. Oh, it's a black character, or it's a no one really talked about it. They were talking about gameplay. Think about the climate then when video games were looked at as they were. They were looked at as games, not as characters. Yeah, you had some flawed characters that people didn't like or they disliked, but it wasn't about color or gender. It was about, well, I didn't like this character because this character was a douche in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus, I don't like the character because they don't look like me, or they don't have this kind of message.
If I had to play a video game where the main character, the main physical, the main playable character had to be just like me and look just like me, it probably wouldn't be any video games for me to play.
See, that's why
I'm not really like a lot of video game characters. That's why I play video games. I want to do things that I cannot do in real life.
Well, that's why I love games like Saints Row, for example, where you can create your own character.
Yeah, I mean that's different.
Yeah, and I love that because I'm like, okay, I input myself in the game by custom making myself. I love games like that like, okay, you can be a male or female, like the Dragon's Dogma. Like you could become whatever character you want. The same with Mass Effect, where you basically, but then there's characters that Laura Croft I use again as an example, or Gears of War, where you're like, yeah, I get behind this character because, hey, the character's got a good story arc, and I want to see where the story goes.
Yeah,
That's all I care about.
Yeah,
you know
I agree with you on that one, man. I could take it back to playing Final Fantasy 13. That character Zaz, man, with the black guy with the afro, man. I couldn't stand him, dude. Couldn't stand him at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just too goofy for me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, this is a whack character.
Come
I
on,
don't
man.
know, man.
He had a little bird in his afro.
I couldn't stand him, man. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, if you can get behind a hedgehog, or you can get it behind a big round ball with eyes and a big mouth.
Yeah.
Then you should be able to get behind any other character in video game world without saying, well, Pac-Man's too yellow for me. Why does he have a big mouth and blah blah blah? Again, I just say this because these are things that a lot of people are not saying, and people need to start coming off their high horses and soapboxes and use common sense.
Yeah.
Go back to the way the mentality was about video games, to have fun and not to be judging the game just on character development or character design, but actually on the game itself. Is it a good game? Does it play well? What skill level do you have to get to this point? How do you play it? How do you achieve, getting gold and all this stuff, instead of, I didn't like it not because it wasn't a good game, but because it just did. It was not enough females, or not enough males, or not enough this group, or not enough animals in it, not enough cats in it.
I don't know why people think about that crap, that kind of stuff, man. I'm like, dude, just give me a game to play. You know what I'm saying? Regardless.
Well, I'll tell you, I know a friend of mine who I love him to death, and he's cool. He's a good gamer, but he's narrow-minded as hell, and he basically won't play a game where he's forced to play as a female character. I'm not going to out this person or anything, because I cherish our friendship, but he's a very narrow-minded guy. And once we talked about Last of Us, and he said, "Oh, I love, Last of Us was a great game. Played the first one." I said, "Well, you had to play as Ellie as part of it. How did you make it through? How did you cope?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, well, I did." He goes, "But I'm never playing the second one."
Then you're missing a good chunk of the story.
I asked him, I said, "Why?" He's like, "Well, it's stupid because I know what happens and this thing happens." No spoilers, but please, people, I was like, you're cheating yourself. The whole point of a video game is sometimes, that whole thing about don't judge until you've walked a mile in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Video games are a chance to do that. Sometimes you play as a protagonist who is questionably morally questionable. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto, they're going to do a lot of weird illegal crap that you probably don't do in your real life, but you're doing it in a game. And then at the end you can see, hey, I was the anti-hero. I didn't have to agree with everything, there, but I had an experience to play in a different.
Even though I was trying to get her killed every 5 minutes when I had to play that character.
I don't like Abby. And I go, how many video games have you ever played where the entire objective was avenge the death of somebody who was killed that you loved?
Yeah.
That's what she did.
Yeah.
And then people, no, it's different because I'm like, no, it's fucking not. Excuse my language, but it's not different. It's the same damn thing. I go, wrap your mind around some of this stuff. Start thinking critically. I go, look, you didn't like the game. You didn't like the game. I can't tell you what to like and what to dislike, but to not give something a chance because of something you heard where somebody tells you to feel a certain way about it, I'm like, wow, that's really sad.
I can't
really
be
sad for you.
I can't be limited, man. Because
what is that?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're missing the great masterpieces because, oh yeah, female led. I can't. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? That's insane. But kudos to that person. I don't know, man. I can't be limited, man. Listen, there's a lot of beautiful games that are female led characters and all that too. Just like one I'm actually playing currently, man. Listen, let me tell you a real quick story because this was PAX maybe I think 3 years ago, and I got a chance to talk to a big content creator, big YouTuber named Gerard the Completionist. Plays a lot of retro games. I think he holds like a world record, I believe, for just amount of completing a bunch of video games or retro games. I believe. I'm not, don't quote me on that, but he's really notable in the video game community as well too. He's dipped his toe in game development as well, and brought out and also he was the ex-host of G4 as well, the new rebranded G4 along with other people. He dipped his toe in game development and brought out a game called Elsie, and I promise, I was speaking to Gerard the completionist at PAX East. This was 3 years ago, and we had an in-depth talk. And I said, dude, we were talking about the game. We were just chatting it up and all that. And I said to him, I was like, dude, I cannot wait for this game. This game was in demo at PAX. And I said, dude, I cannot wait to get my hands on this game. This game came out this past, the beginning of this week. And it is so much fun. I promised him I was going to play it. And I said, dude, yes, this game is amazing. I'm going to tell you real quick about Elsie. Elsie is basically Mega Man. That's all I can say. It's basically Mega Man. You have of course, the privilege of playing a female protagonist. Her name is Elsie. She is going around, just basically doing the same thing as Mega Man. You know what I'm saying? Just shooting at robots, man. The customization is great. There's a lot of customization in this game, I can say, man. Like, seriously, it's not just, you're doing one simple shot and all that too. You got different guns, you got different abilities, different stats. You can up your attack, up your defense. You have special powers. It's just every gameplay is not the same. Every gameplay is not the same. Even if you die and you start back over, the gameplay is not the same. Everything switches up. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to get you're going to get a completely different gameplay experience. I love this game. I love this game so much. I played it. Right now I'm like maybe 5 hours deep in this game. Love it already. You know what I'm saying? I went through 2 bosses. Love it. And these boss battles don't hold you by the hand. You really got to start grinding, know the patterns of these bosses, man. I mean, it's insane. Count with the beautiful music, because I always talk about musical soundtracks in the game. Soundtrack in this game is amazing, top notch. The voiceovers as well too. These characters have voiceovers, which is great. Thank God, because I don't feel like reading dialogue all the time. Hey, have somebody talk for me. Big shout out to those that did the dialogue as well too. And that's what I love about Gerard, man. Gerard actually gets people that we know and love. So shout out to a lot of people from the G4 series as well too. I know Miss Gina Darling had a cameo in this game. Obviously May has cameo. Fiona Nova as well too. So they put their voices in this game, and it's so much fun. Again, count as a lot of other notable voice actors and all that too that are just content creators. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So this is for fans by fans. This game is wonderful. I really recommend this game. Civ, this is definitely your game. I played it on chat, and I said, you know what? This is a Civ game right here. You know what I'm saying? You will love this.
It's so funny. There's 2 types of games out there that they defined a whole genre. Like, how you say, like, something is a sports game, something's an RPG. But there are 2 types of games that are specific to, like, the games that created the genre, which are like Metroidvania and Mega Man.
Yeah.
When people say it's like a Mega Man game, you just know exactly what to expect. And this looks good. Like, it's not like a Mega Man straight up clone. Like,
right.
It does its own thing. Like, I dig how, like, the art style is different. Like, it's done differently, but differently enough to, like, make it look like, it could be inspired by that, but it's doing its own thing. So it's definitely cool. I like it.
It's beautiful. I definitely recommend this game. Right now you can get it on Steam for about $15. I know introductory price right now is $15.
Oh, that's not bad.
And it's
and
worth it.
You say the game it's procedurally generated, right? So, like,
yes,
it's always switching around.
It's always switching around. So you're not going to get the same play. You're like, oh man. And let's say, for instance, you go through one session and you go to the boss battle, and the boss defeats you. A specific boss defeats you, right? And you're like, okay, I know how to defeat that boss now. But you go back to that boss battle, right? And it's a completely different boss. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, what the heck? It switches up on you every single time, which is perfect.
That almost reminds me of, like, Binding of Isaac a little bit.
Yes.
It just changes stuff like you just don't even realize. That's
cool.
Oh
my God, it's beautiful. So I recommend this game.
Nice.
Like I said, grab it on Steam for sure, man. Shout out to Gerard the Completionist. Like I told you, Gerard. I'm trying to get completion on the show as well too, to talk about more of his upcoming titles. Got him on DM, so hopefully we'll talk more and elaborate more about LC and maybe upcoming projects and all that too. But Gerard, I told you, I promised you I was gonna play the game. It's beautiful, dude. Seriously, recommend it, guys. Get LC on Steam right now. So that is pretty much me. Smoke, what is up with you, man?
Besides Black Myth Wukong, which I'm moving up, I'm on chapter 4 right now and farming like crazy.
All right, now you are.
I have been playing the one game that I've been waiting for the last almost decade, the continuation of Warhammer Space Marine 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's a continuation from when I played it on Xbox 360. Let me just say it like this. For those who are not familiar with the Warhammer lore, this is a great introduction piece to uh, be introduced to the world of Warhammer. Let me just start out by saying, great game, great storyline. It's a continuation. There is a little bit of a backstory. If you haven't played the first one, they give you definitely let you know what happened.
Yeah.
But it's great lore, but at the same time, from graphics to gameplay, it's not a quick fix game. The campaign, like they have a campaign and they have a PvP multiplayer where you can play by yourself with bots, or you can get a group of friends, 3 friends. The 3 of you can play as a group. But the campaign is not easy, but it's not hard either. But it makes you work. It makes you work for the game, but it's a lot of fun. You get engrossed with the game. It's linear, but not linear. It's weird. Like you can run in certain areas and find hidden things, but it does make you work. There's a lot of customization once you unlock. You play the first hour. Once you play the first hour, for example, you get access to the multiplayer, and then there's more access as you go on. There are a lot of rewards. Seriously, this game, I cannot stop talking about. For people that want a straight up hardcore, just in your face sci-fi, blood and guts, team up, and everything else under the sun, big heavy war armor suits. This is the game. And the AI, the creatures in the game, very smart.
Yeah.
So they make you work. Let's just say it like this. Once you get the handle of how the gameplay is, you can get through it. But again, it's not. They definitely don't make it easy, even on easy. It's not rogue style. It's not on a level where you're rage quit, but it will make you work. And it'll make you stay organized on how to keep your ammo and everything else. You're like, okay, I got to use this amount of ammo, but I also got to make sure I know where all this stuff is. It's from the people that did Left 4 Dead, so you already know the scale and scope when you're fighting these aliens, for example, on a massive movie style scale. And again, Warhammer Game Workshops did their thing. Saber, they did their thing with this game. I understand why they pushed it back a couple of times to get it right and all. And they're still working out a lot of things with the game. Civ and I talked about, hey, they need to have a 4th player because they have a lot of different categories. You could play as an assault, a heavy, sniper, and all that. And there's so many options you could play as a Space Marine in this game, to a point where you can have it when your helmet is off, or you can have it with your helmet on. You have that option. You can flip back and forth. They give you an array of weapons to use to cycle through, to get through certain things, that carry out missions. What's so cool about it also is you might be on mission, but then you have another group of Space Marines that are fighting on the other side of the planet. Later on, as you unlock the game, as you're moving forward in the campaign, there are storylines that you can find out what happened to those Space Marines on that other side of the planet. As you unlock stuff, and you can find out their fate. How did they persevere, or how did they get killed? You find out more of the story and everything else, and more of the lore. But this is a great introduction to the world of Warhammer, and I really truly hope, as this game progresses, that they keep doing improvements on the game, and that they keep adding. There are going to be a lot of season passes for this game, so I really hope that this is a start of something really where Saber and the Games Workshop say, hey, let's start putting out games like this for Warhammer, because again, a lot of people are enjoying this game. It's a refreshing game. It's basically, and again, it's a great introduction to the lore. I cannot stop talking about this game.
Dude, I thought about too. Civ, you got to put the poll up too, man. This should be a death battle between the guys from Warhammer against the Gears of War guy. Gears of War, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, because I feel like, that'll be an epic battle between both of those factions, man. Like just Warhammer against Gears of War. You know what I'm saying? Who would win?
Yeah.
That would be so dope.
A lot of parallels between the two. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's clear that Gears of War was influenced by Warhammer.
Yeah,
Oh
I've
yeah,
always,
yeah, definitely.
I've always felt
But
that.
it's
Even with the
such
weapons, with the stuff they have, it's very similar.
right,
yeah.
right. But who has the advantage? You know what I'm saying? Like this
You
is
really
so.
want me? Yo, man,
I'm going to definitely say right now, as a
Space
Warhammer
Marines.
fan, I'm going to say Warhammer, the Space Marines,
Uh
Yeah.
huh.
because there's so many different groups and factions within the Warhammer lore. Like you have the Space Marines, but then you have the Fist. You have the Blood Angels. You have all these different the Salamanders. You have so many different groups, and where you have the cogs in the Gears of War. And I'm a Gears of War fan. I'm a cog, but again, it's so. But yeah, it was definitely heavily influenced. Gears of War was heavily influenced by Warhammer.
Right, right.
Clearly, but never on this scale where you have so many enemies on screen like this.
Yeah, this is crazy, man.
It is nuts because they're
Yeah,
coming
they're
all.
using the same engine that Saber Interactive used for World War Z.
Mhm.
Right.
Like the character effects, like when you're being swarmed, even on easy levels, I mean, it just throws like thousands of enemies at you, and
Yeah.
it's really really cool. The engine really keeps up. It looks
That's
really
awesome.
good.
I love
Yeah.
when it does that too, man. Look
Yeah,
at all
it's-
that on the wall. Good lord,
And
dude.
the thing is too, I mean, you can see them in the distance creeping up. Like you see them on the horizon, and like in like a minute or two, they're all
They're gonna
like,
pop up,
in your
yeah.
face. Yeah, it's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
dope.
mean, and you can shoot them as they're climbing up the wall. You can kill them to keep them from climbing up the wall.
Yeah,
Even if
right.
you're going to have a couple that are going to like, oh, I'm going to come off on the side, and you're like, where the hell this guy came from? You're like, oh my god.
My
So yeah,
favorite
it
is
keeps
like
on
you
your
get
toes.
this like a horde of enemies coming at you, and they're packed like shoulder to shoulder. You just toss a grenade right in the middle of them, and you hear that like little ripple effect, just
Yeah,
right through
yeah.
the, you know.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
in a game like this, you couldn't have an aliens game without having some type of armor. And I think about aliens, and I'm like, now if they did aliens like this, like aliens game,
Colonial Marines, if they did that, I swear to God, dude. Yeah.
you would have to be heavily armored up because the acid alone. But
Well, the last Alien game,
it made you work too.
Fire Team Elite
Yeah.
had some elements of that where all of a sudden you're just gonna get overrun.
Yeah,
That's
And
right.
that
I'm
was
at Fire Team Elite. You're right. Yeah, yeah.
So fun. I love that game.
Yep.
It was very fun.
so yeah, that's a game. And I will say, next to Black Myth Wukong, it's definitely a game contender. I basically go off of game contenders overall gameplay, how many people are on board playing the game,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else. Not just on storyline, but how many people are playing the game.
Yeah.
How many people are still continuing playing the game. It's definitely, and to compare it to Helldivers 2 is doing a disservice to both games. It's really, you can't compare it other than the idea that, okay, they're soldiers and there's similarities, but they're so far different from each other, it's not even funny. And it's doing, I hate when people try to compare it to Helldiver. In the beginning, I can understand, but when you finally play it, you're like, yeah, it's different from Helldivers, but it has the same structure, but it's totally different. It's a totally different mindset
Right.
because again, it's been established for years. So yeah, but again, I highly recommend anyone out there, if you love nuts to the wall, straight up hardcore, big badass armor suits, and a great tight storyline, and then an expansion from the campaign, then Warhammer Space Marine 2 is your game.
Yeah, I definitely have to jump into that, man. I like that, man. I like that. Sif, how about you? What you been up to, man?
All right. Well, yeah. So I'm a big shoot 'em up guy, particularly with regard to what they call bullet hell shooters.
Yes.
So I love them. I know some people it's a real mixed bag. Like everybody, you like your R type games. I remember Gradius back in the day, and they weren't particularly like bullet hell per se, but they were good shoot 'em ups. And I love those kinds of games. So recently, Konami came out with a new one. It's a top-down vertical scrolling shoot 'em up called Signy, All Guns Blazing.
Okay.
And I didn't like, I'm part of like these like shoot 'em up groups on Facebook where we just talk about things. And when this game started to like come towards the front of people's awareness when it was coming out, everybody's talking about it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous game. It just takes all those elements from those shooters and just dials everything up in terms of just like the appearance, sound, the depth of field, the different weapons you can use, the upgrade system, everything. It's just extraordinary. It looks really cool. It pays homage to a lot of like older shoot 'em ups like Ikaruga,
Yes.
Race Storm, some of those, and has like a really cool like a power mechanic where you can sort of like take your like I don't want to say like your health bar, but your energy bar. You can either, move the energy towards offense or convert it to defense. It's almost like Star Wars when they like, you can use shield power to power a weapon, but then your shields are diminished. So this game's just all over the place. There's so many moving pieces to this. Now, I'll tell you, shoot 'em ups like this affect me in two ways that other game genres just don't. Two things happen to me when I play shoot 'em ups like this. It just doesn't happen with any other kind of game. One, I will play these games until my hands physically hurt.
Facts.
Which I can play for hours and hours and hours, most games, and just not worried, no fatigue, no problems. But when I play games like this, there's so much movement and so much dexterity that like playing this for an extended period of time, your hands literally start to seize up.
Right.
Like, it's just all over the place. It's so demanding, the gameplay, even on the easiest setting. This game is extremely tough, extremely tough. The other thing that happens when I play shoot 'em ups in general, particularly like bullet hell games, is some people feel a lot of anxiety when they play games like this. Like they can't even play them because it's just too anxious. I have this weird thing. I get this calming effect that comes over me. I get very like I've looked on my Fitbit. My pulse actually lowers.
Yeah,
I
really?
get
Okay.
very calm, and my mind starts to wander. Like I daydream when I play games like this. It's just very soothing for me. I don't know why. It's something inherent to shoot 'em ups. I can't explain it, and I swear I just want to write like an article about it or like write a story because I just think that there's something weird with me. Like when I play games like this, I find them very relaxing. I mean, yeah, they're tough sometimes, and sometimes it's overwhelming. But even in like these crazy ass moments when everything's just going nuts, I don't know. I sit there just very zen. I get this very zen quality.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
I don't know what to attribute that to. If people in the chat, if you know what I'm talking about, I don't know. Maybe everybody has this happen, but I just find it's just weird. You really fall into like a certain like mindset when you play games like this. Even as frantic as it gets, I just get very mellow. I don't know. So, yeah, this game's really cool. I beat it on 2 out of the 3 difficulties. The hardest difficulty, miss, it's just torturous.
I know it is, dude. I know it is.
Torturous.
It's crazy too because like I'm with you, man. Right now, my current shoot 'em up that's my favorite I'm still playing is Radiant Silvergun by Treasure, and
Yeah, great game.
I love that.
That's a great game.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I've been so hooked on it, man. And it's the same thing, and I get that. It's that you're right. It's a common effect.
You know what I'm talking about? Like you just kind of everything is okay. I
Yeah.
guess maybe it's because the frantic pace is so consistent from the moment you start to the moment you end. You
Right.
just become like so used to
You're
it.
numb to
Like,
it. Hmm.
It's not like if you're playing like a horror game and there's a jump scare or there's a moment that's more intense. This whole game is freaking intense, every single moment of it.
Yeah.
So it's like I guess like you just kind of acclimate to it and maybe you just become more comfortable. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But,
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
also contributes to the fact that when I play these games, I have a certain effect that's called well, my eyes are crossed. My eyes get crossed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like my one eye is focusing on the ship movement.
yeah.
The other eye is focusing on where the bullets are. So it's like when my eyes
Yeah,
get crossed,
I know
I
exactly what
go
you're
into
talking
like a daydreaming effect where it's like I kind of like
Yeah.
drool a little bit, man. Like I don't move. Like it's just like you're daydreaming, you know.
I don't
So
drool.
I mean, oh, yeah, but you know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying. But it's like you get that effect. It's like you're relaxed. It's like nothing matters because
Yeah.
you're so locked in that you get the cross-eyed effect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these games do that a lot. You know what I mean? I love these games. I definitely want to play this game. Where's this game available on, you know?
So I'm playing it on PS5.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's multi-platform. I'm pretty sure it's probably on PC. It's probably on Xbox.
Sweet. Okay.
I think it's multi. I don't think it's on Switch. I could be totally wrong. I know Konami is the developer, so they put this thing together. I definitely do know it's on PC because people have already modded this.
Yeah,
game.
yeah. I
don't
love
know,
I love the fact that the enemies have the percentage marker, man, so you know
Yeah.
how much you're progressing in this battle, man. Thank you, God, because
You have to like the heads-up display in this game is so vital because
Yeah.
you're always just taking your power levels and shifting them. When you're fighting a boss, you want to concentrate on power. Your shields aren't as important, but when you know a big attack is coming, you shift everything to your shields, endure it, shift it
Yep.
back, and plus, not only are you shooting airborne targets like what you're seeing here, you're also dropping bombs. there
Right.
are enemies in the like that's sort of like the Ikaruga effect, like how you had to always like balance between the two, like the white and black enemy type thing and discharging weapons at certain times. That's what this thing is doing, but you're hitting ground targets. So a lot of asset management in this game. You just got to really understand where your resources are and where you're focusing attacks. But yeah, it's awesome, and the soundtrack is incredible.
That's
Really,
locks me
really
in, man.
cool.
I didn't even notice the soldiers fighting in the bottom as well too, man. That's freaking
Yeah,
dope.
yeah.
I
And they're
like
fighting.
that.
So if you drop bombs in the wrong place, you'll hit allied targets.
Oh, it's friendly fire.
Oh,
Wow.
it is on. This game really takes a lot of
No
like,
freaking
concept
way.
and
Oh, that's another effect I gotta get used to, dude.
So I wish you could see where I'm pointing on the screen. So in the north part of this particular area, you see like the encroaching forces, and your ground troops are moving north, and
Right.
you're simultaneously you're trying to fend off that enemy incursion to protect ground troops while you're being attacked by this bigger boss. Dude, it's nuts. It's all over the place. Like it's just so much to like.
See, that makes you want to think like, yo, I have faith in my ground troops that I'm not going to drop bombs on anybody, man, because I don't want to like disrupt the number count. You know what I'm saying, of my troops. You know what I mean? That's insane, dude. I love this.
It's very tough. I'll say this. My only criticism, I think the levels are probably a little too long. I like shoot 'em ups, but I also like games that kind of give you a little break, that pace themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The levels in this are so long. I mean, real long, and there's no real like if you die, it's over. You get
Oh, for sure.
like on the easiest level, you get like 3 ships, but after that, they give you 1 for the entire run. You die, you're done. No checkpoints, nothing like that. And the levels, it's just punishing. It really is like one of the hardest shoot 'em ups I've ever played, and like. I played some hard ones, man. I really have.
Yeah.
So you could do the math. It's like, of the who's who of like shoot 'em up games, or shmups as the kids call them. I played them and had mostly decent results. This game will test you. It really will. It's a very hard game. So I was when I first started playing this, man, I sucked. It has such a learning curve. Because it doesn't really explain itself super well. Like the tutorial's helpful to a degree, but a lot of stuff just comes with trial and error.
Right.
Like it doesn't tell you how the economy system works with getting credits to like upgrade things. You just gotta feel it out. Like you don't really, nothing's explained up front. It's just kind of like, okay, go out there and play. So yeah, it's a whole thing, but it's a lot of fun. I still do recommend it, but you better be a fan of the genre. Like if you're kind of like wishy-washy, like some shoot 'em ups, not others. I would say stay away from it. It's probably not for you. But if you're hardcore and you're really looking for the challenge, I think this game is it.
Yeah. Listen, you sold me on that, man, because I love a good shoot 'em up, man, for sure.
And again, it's called Signy. All guns blazing.
Signy, all guns blazing. There you go. I'm about to check to see if that hopefully it's on PC, man. That's great.
There we go. Yeah, I think probably Steam. I think.
Yep. And then chat, like I said, let us know what you've been playing, man, especially on our Facebook page, on the chat as well too. Tell us, man, recommend us some video games for us to try out as well, man. But I feel like we come to a point where it affects me mostly because I always talk about how this publishing company is my favorite company of all time. And the news broke out right now that Annapurna's entire gaming team has resigned. This news, first of all, that makes no sense. Me and Sid was just talking about that before the show, Smoke, too, that this makes no sense because you would think that Annapurna is never at fault with anything. That's mostly a laid-back, chilled, like your mom and pop company, you know what I'm saying?
Small publisher.
Yeah, right,
size,
exactly. That's in for the little people. And they are in for the little people, you know what I mean? That's what they do. They're for the little people, for the little indie developers that we always say to support your indie developers. Annapurna has that mission statement clear as day. But, of course, it's not all, smiles and rainbows, man, especially in the gaming industry. Of course, Annapurna had a little fallout with, of course, the Annapurna Interactive president, Nathan Gray, was in negotiations with the founder and billionaire Megan Ellison to spin the gaming segment off as its own company. Of course, Megan Ellison pulled out of negotiations, at which point the president, Gary, resigned, and almost 30 individuals, including division co-heads, they all left and joined Gary. Here's the thing, too. There may be some disputes as well too. Maybe they, like I said, they wanted to do a little spin-off of the company and to have little plans. I know Megan probably wants to keep the focus, especially when something's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what Megan's mindset is. I wanted to emphasize that as well too before the show. I feel like it's like that. Don't like that. If it's not broke, don't fix it, man. I know Nathan Gary wanted to like, hey, let's spin this off to like, no, maybe it's not going to work and all that too. You know, Gary wanted to take an extra step. Who knows? You know what I mean? But that kind of resulted in a fallout. Half the team fell out, man. You know, is it trouble for Annapurna Interactive? And I want to put that to both of y'all. Is it trouble for them?
Let me ask you a question first, because you're closer to this story than I am. You know this publisher better than I do. I played their games and I respect their work, but I know like you're
my number one publisher of all time. Yep.
What do you think that part of the reason why they wanted to basically individualize and you know mark out the gaming aspect of the company and make it its own unique entity was because of some of the IPs they had on the horizon? Because I know we talked before the show. They had a Blade Runner IP that they acquired, and what was they had a list of about
Silent Hill, Blade Runner.
Silent Hill was the other one. Silent Hill. I can't like. So is it just to give them more legitimacy and more maybe even like creative autonomy? Like what was the issue? Like they just. Is it just a financial thing we just don't understand, or like, well, how's like, what's the story?
Well, see, that's the thing too. There was no really like backing as far as what the whole debate was about. You know, between Nathan Gary's team and of course Megan's team and all that. There was no the set debate. You know, and then, like I said, I probably got to do a little more deep diving as far as to see what was the matter with that. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, it's just ideas going awry, you know, but what could the ideas be? You know, we don't know that for sure. You know, it just resulted in Gary saying, you know what, F this, I'm out of here, man. I wanted to take this into a different direction. I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Which is sad too, because it's like it's like every piece of the puzzle was there. It was amazing. You know, I wish, and again, I wish they just, you know, kind of talked it out a little bit back, because, you know, this is a perfect, you know, again, it's a perfect company to work for, to be honest with you. That's what I thought, you know what I mean? But, you know, right now, what is currently in works right now is, I know Megan actually brought in, Hector Sanchez, who was the former executive of Epic Games. So Hector Sanchez is also taking place of Nathan Gary. And of course you have, you know, Paul Doyle, is head of strategy and all that too.
Anybody else think that the fact that they found somebody as a replacement that fast is kind of suspect? Like,
no.
How long was this going on for? Like, this seems like it was just like, okay, one person is gone today, next person's here tomorrow. Like, I personally am at a company right now, my professional job, where I won't say where I work, but we have been without a CEO for about 8 months.
Right.
That's right. It's really wild.
See, I'm gonna tell you this too. And see, I'm gonna say no. I don't think that's sus, because, and we talked about this too before the show, the gaming industry right now, with so many, like, you know, we hear layoffs constantly. You know what I'm saying? We hear layoffs, you know, left and right. People are trying to find jobs. Even top dogs in the gaming industry are trying to find jobs, man, or switching out, you know, trying to find a new landing spot, you know what I mean? So when people are willingly leaving positions, like Nathan Gary says, I'm done, there's people stepping up. If I'll be like, oh, he's gone? I'm in. Yo, give me that position right now. Please. You know, Megan, I'm available. People are willing to take these jobs, man. Second. That's how, like, quick and just no room for error, man, that these gaming companies have, you know what I'm saying, as far as, you know, oh, you know what, man, this spot is vacant, you know, vacant. Somebody's gonna fill that spot in a second, you know, because that's the, you know, for people that are working in these industries, they want those positions, they want those jobs in a heartbeat, you know what I mean? So, you know, is it you know, like I said, Nathan Gary and his team, man, you know, falling out? Well, Megan is like, you know what? That's fine. You know, I know you have a good idea. Listen, you can go resign, do your own thing. You know, God bless you on your accomplishments. But I already got somebody that's lined up, man, that's been wanting to work with me for the longest.
Yeah, but for the whole team to just bail, there's something, I swear, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
That's not who I am. But I feel like there's something where we don't know. Something's not being told. Something doesn't sit right. Like, you're making excellent games. You have excellent games on the horizon.
Yeah.
I mean, they are batting 1,000. Annapurna is one of the top names. And yet, this happens. And there's a mass exodus. It wasn't like just one person left because of creative differences. An entire company walked out of work. the impact of that cannot be overstated. That's a big damn deal.
Yeah, but you know what though, and again, it's probably
so strange to me.
Yeah, it is strange because I'll give it to you, maybe I'll with whatever idea that Nathan Gary had, a lot of his team was like, yo, that's a good idea. I'm with that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you probably had people that was already on Nathan's side that see what this vision of Nathan was, you know what I'm saying, for the spinoff of the company. And that when Megan shut it down, and like I said, who knew how it was shut down or who was rejected, that the team just felt ill about it. It was like, well, you know what, Nathan, are you going to do this on the side, man? You know what? If you're going to take me with you, I'm with you on this one. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? The only other time in the history of this industry that this instance reminds me of was way back, excuse me, in the early '80s. And it was the formation of Activision, because there were 6 programmers who basically left Atari after the Warner Brothers buyout. I hope I had Warner Communication buyout, to be specific. I want to make sure I'm remembering this correctly. I saw a documentary about this recently. I'm just trying to, but they left, and I think it was just, they wanted to do their own thing, right?
Right.
So they formed Activision, and Activision made some of the greatest games in that early era, particularly for the 2600. So maybe as good as they were doing, maybe they can do even better as a standalone. I guess they would become a studio at that point, not just a publisher. Who knows? I wish them well. I think it's a talented team. I'm glad whatever they felt the need to walk out in mass exodus over, I feel that it was probably for a good reason.
Yeah,
I hope we kind of gets the whole story someday. Like I still think there's an element we kind of don't know, and the fact that there hasn't been an official statement yet, I think, by the ownership. Like you'd think at this point there would have been like a statement, unless there was one. I missed it. Maybe there was.
Well, so right, but, so Ellison did told Bloomberg, according to what he says, our top priority is continuing to support our developers and publishing partners during this transition. We're committed to not only we're committed to not only our existing slate of games, but also expanding our presence in the interactive space as we continue to look for opportunities to take a more integrated approach to linear interactive storytelling across film and TV, gaming, and theater. So Megan says, listen, we're keeping our mission statement. You know what I'm saying? We're still the same Annapurna. It's just going to be a small transition, but we're still keeping the mission statement, which I'm hoping that they still do. And like I said, I'm hoping that Nathan does, brings out his vision as far as what he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? But Annapurna, according to Megan, it's going to still stay. The ship is still floating. So we'll see what happens in the near future. Because man, that broke my heart, dude. I was like, dude. And I always clamor. You know me. That's my number one. You know what I'm saying? I love Annapurna to death. That was my top seeded publisher of all time, dude, out of everybody. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll see what happens in the near future. We'll keep you posted on that. And, we'll see what happens. Listen, it's part of the gaming industry. But how do y'all feel about Sony's approach, man, to the PS5 Pro as far as price and other things, too, man? Smoke, what do you think about this, yo?
I'm just going to just say it straight up.
Are you getting the PS5 Pro?
Oh, hell to the yo.
$700. Are you getting it?
Let me just give you a couple factors. Couple key factors. $700. Digital. Sony dictating whether or not I can have a digital game after I buy it. They can take it off at any time. Separate DVD drive.
Yeah, that's weird.
Additional $100.
That's weird, cuz.
No stand.
Yep.
$700. Think about that. $700. No.
Yeah.
Wet.
Yeah. Dude. Yo, Smoke. It's so funny too because remember one episode way back in the day of Past Controller we was talking about before the PS5 dropped, right? We was talking about it. We was like, oh man, we got to get our hands on the PS5. New hardware, new tech. You know what I'm saying? Price is good. And some of y'all knew I bought like a few PS5s. You know what I'm saying? Because I had the money for it. You know what I mean?
You were that guy.
I was that guy. And so when people ask me, are you going to do the same thing with his PS Pro? No, I don't think nobody else is going to do it either, dude. Nobody else is going. I don't feel like it's even a hardware to replace the PS5. Let me tell you why. When they actually showcased, I think they showcased a little bit as far as the PS5. They didn't really do any. It's not really that much of a difference. I mean, crispier, get a screen with the gameplay. I know it's going to be, for the 4K owners and all that too. 4K is not like 8K yet. 4K owners, but when they show some of the gameplay, I think they did a little bit of. They did games that was way back in the day, like Last of Us 2. All right. Well, if you're gonna show examples of how good this game is, could you give me a brand new game along for 2 that's going to be compatible for the PS5 Pro?
And the game that's coming out, that's actually coming out within the next month, or around the same time as.
Let me understand something here.
Yeah.
Your contingency, whether or not to buy or to pass on a PS5 Pro, is predicated upon the availability of a new game specifically designed.
Well, but here's the thing. I want to see.
You really don't think that there are games on the horizon?
There are games on the horizon, right?
I'll give you one that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
It's Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah.
Developers said to us publicly months ago they're designing this with next gen technology.
But Civ, it's going to be for the regular PS5 as well too. That everybody in America
it'll probably
owns.
be for the PS6.
Now, mind you,
I mean,
now, mind you, if you put let's say Grand Theft Auto 6, you put the PS5 and PS5 Pro screen, how you screen split like down the middle with the similar gameplay and all that too. I want to see that. I want to see that because I feel like I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I can just play it on PS5 because there's no point for me to get a PS5 Pro for Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, they said that 60 frames per second is still its target. How still its target, my guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you're putting out the Pro. Give us something else besides like crispy screen. Yeah, okay. I'm not sold on it. You know what I'm saying? Especially for the price that's is asking for. You know what I mean? With minimal. Upgrade. I would say minimal upgrade. I'm gonna keep hands down minimal upgrade. I'm gonna put my foot down on that, man, because it's minimal upgrade.
The problem I got with it is the whole digital thing, especially when they just talked about Concord and how, like, people that bought it automatically, PlayStation didn't ask you if you wanted it or not. They automatically took it off your PlayStation without your permission and all that stuff, regardless if you got your money back.
So so it's gonna be the same thing. Like, we're gonna have games that's gonna be taken off the PS5, and it's like you gotta get a PS5 Pro for that. That's bull.
No,
I can't trust.
Yeah, I can't. I like having. Again, I'm a physical game owner. I love owning my physical copy. I don't like someone dictating to me, how long I can have a game.
Yeah.
Take it off when they think that they don't need to have it on the market anymore.
Yeah.
And also, I don't like the fact that they're trying to play the consumer. They're trying to pimp us. They're basically trying to pimp us.
They are.
And I'm gonna say it like this. They got me once with PS4 Pro, okay? And the PS4 Pro, okay. But the problem is, and I've mentioned this before, within the next 2 years, PS5 Pro is going to be a thing of the past, and then you have PS6. And I'm not looking forward to that because if they go digital, you can pretty much, I'm gonna call it quits because
no, you won't. No, you won't. No, you won't.
If I can't own the game, if I cannot own the game,
no, you won't.
You say
You're
that
getting
now.
it. You're getting it, dude. No, you won't. You can say that now, but no, you won't.
And I guarantee you, if $700 is a prelude of it going up to 1,000, and I can't own the game, oh yeah, I'm coming. You're talking to someone who's coming from the perspective of old school mentality.
Right, yeah.
I like owning what I buy.
Mm-hmm.
I now and then give things a pass, but guess what? There's things I watch on streaming that, hey, I'm gonna own that.
The PS5 doesn't fundamentally change that. That's the same thing that's going on right now. It's not saying that everything is digital.
It's going to be coming to that. Remember I told you that? Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's a whole other discussion, though.
Yeah.
The PS5 Pro. Listen, okay. Can I?
Go ahead.
How about you talk real softly and all this?
Yeah,
I just gotta laugh about it.
I can't cough with this freaking.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm not sold. $700.
Well, here let's establish a couple. Here's a couple things.
Right.
We're going to start off by establishing some facts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Now, I'm not saying that the PS5 Pro is for everybody, because it's not.
It's not. But who's it for, Civ?
It's not for McNucks, and it's not for Smoke.
Okay, so who's it for, Civ? Let's cut that. Put answers right there before you say the rest of the paragraph. Who's it for?
It's for me. It's for me.
Elaborate. That's what?
The PS5 Pro is for me. I am extremely hardcore in my gaming, playing and collecting, and I am a technophile to the end. I very much enjoy having the biggest and the best tricked out, greatest thing on the planet, and I don't partake in a lot of other activities in life that, you know, require me to divert my funds elsewhere. So this is where I invest a lot of my time, therefore I invest a lot of my resources. I always see behind me here, this is my actual game room. I will, whenever there's a new upgrade to a system, I take the old one and I move it upstairs to a living room where I have my other setup. This is not my only gaming setup. This is my primary gaming setup. The reason why I say it's for me is because I just love this stuff. Always have. Ever since the days of the very first console that ever received like a Mark II upgraded half generation version. You know which console that was? All of them. This is not a new concept, okay? The Atari 2600 had different variations. The Intellivision had different variations. The Nintendo Entertainment System had different variations. The SNES, the Game Boy Advance, the DS, every single console, all of them. Every Xbox console had an alternate version or an upgraded version. Every PlayStation has done the same thing. Every single one. There is not an exception to that rule. It's all of them, and they are optional. It's not the idea of bringing out a new and improved console isn't to exclude swatches of the populace who play a particular type of game. It actually adds a sense of accessibility. Stop. I need some time. I'm taking my time. So when the PS5 is announced, you know, originally I even said I thought it was too soon. I was still playing PS4. I still play PS4. Let me ask you hypothetically, if the PS5 never came out and it was just now announced that it was time for a new PS5 and it was $700, most people would say, all right, it's kind of steep, but it is time for a new console.
Right.
Much like for the same people that upgrade their phone every year or 2 years, they pay out all this money for the newest and most improved iPhone or whatever it is you play, you know, you like your device. I get it. I understand. Nobody's forcing anybody to get it. But here's the deal. I have a setup that's conducive to having this kind of thing. It's everything I wanted in the first PS5. You know, you look back, and during that time when the first PS5 came out, we were in the middle of, you know, a chip shortage. We were in the middle of, you know, a questionable economy.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of a lot of different things, and yet people still bought the PS5.
It was a want. Yeah. It was a want.
It was a want. Now, if you had the wherewithal to skip that generation, now you're considering, hey, you know, I was looking to get in a PS5. Now that it's kind of like they're giving us like the real alpha version of the PS5, maybe now I'll get it. So maybe it's for that person. Maybe for me, might be for them. Might also be for people who would say, hey, you know, it has been like 4 years. I trade in my phone every once in a while. Why don't I just go trade in my PS5? I'll get this new PS5 that's like, you know, it's upgraded, it's got all kinds of bells and whistles and stuff, and it's cool. You know, okay, so it's an investment on that side. Maybe it's for that person. Maybe it's for people who are now at the point where they can condense their collections. So like if you know that it plays PS4 games backwards compatible and you know it's PS5, obviously, if you have a PS4 and a PS5, you trade them in, you get a PS5 Pro. It's almost an even trade. Seriously, it's almost like getting it for free, even at $700. Now people that are complaining about the disk drive thing, I want to mention something because this came as a shock to me and it had me thinking about this in two different ways. One, I have a buddy of mine who claims that he hasn't bought a physical game, I guess in over 10 years. I think he said he hasn't used a disc game, so he's like completely digital now, and that's like a lot of people on the PC side too. Everything PC now is digital download. They have complete collections. You think PC gamers are all of a sudden salty that their games are inoperable, they can't play? Come on, that's a myth. That doesn't really
right. No, it's not a thing.
Let's be honest. The game is there, it's going to be playable, you know, maybe once in a while, but that's such an exception to the rule. The reason why I like the disk drive not being included is it actually drives the cost down. I know people think it increases the cost, but that's only if you opt for it. If you don't opt for it, then you wouldn't have been using it anyway. what's great about having it, I know this is kind of weird. I sound like a fanboy. I
Okay.
totally get it.
Okay.
I'll say this.
No,
one
keep
last thing.
preaching. Go ahead.
What's really great is what's the most common piece of modern consoles that fails? What has the highest failure rate? PS5s are built like a tank. They have a really great success history. They don't have a lot of mechanical issues, but when they do break down periodically, sometimes it's the optical drive. That's the mechanical mechanism in there. And if it goes, then that sucks. Now you just have a digital system. The advantage of having something that's optional and detachable is you can replace it. If it dies, you just get a new one. I know it's $80. It's an investment, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah, good point.
When it was spelled out to me this way, and I thought about it too. When they first said 700, I was like, that's kind of steep. If they said 600, that probably would have been better.
Been good.
I bet you if they said 600, people probably would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
But 700 is a jump, and I understand. When you compare 700 though to games of the past, hey, look, based on inflation, the Intellivision was more expensive than the PS5
at
Pro.
that time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Neo Geo was very much
at the time.
expensive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can go down the list.
You're right.
The Panasonic 3DO was more expensive.
Yeah.
And you're probably thinking, oh God, those were all like horrible consoles too. And I'm like, yeah, but hardcore gamers bought them. They did. They did it then. They're going to do it again. I know this because I did. I also know this because I've already bought stuff to tack onto this thing. So let me do a little show and tell, if I might. So, the PS5 Pro is going to have your the SSD slot in there.
Mm-hmm.
I already got my 8 terabyte internal memory card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this little guy, 8 terabytes, costs $1,200.
$1,200. Okay.
$1,200.
So tack on to 700, right? Keep going.
So let's keep going. Bought a heat sink for it that's custom made for it, $17. Optical drive is $80. As soon as that conference was over, I ordered the optical drive on Amazon just out of speculation. It was before they even said
All right,
I just put in my head, I was like, oh, if they don't include the drive, it's probably going to be the one that they're currently using as the add-on to the digital. So I'm making mental notes. I'm like, so 80. So we're $1,200, $17, and $80. I'm also going to be using the 8 terabyte external SSD that I currently have for my main PS5, which is $625. And then you have the cost of the PS5 Pro, which is $700. So before tax.
3.5.
2.5.
2.5. I thought you said 3.5. It's you said okay, 2.5. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's $2,650.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And I'm sure people out there are like, just buy a PC. Have one of them too. You know why? Because you only live once. And I work hard for my money.
Listen, chat.
I love gaming.
Listen.
And they can be mad, and y'all can hate, and I don't care because I'm going to be playing my whoop-ass, kick-ass, chill-out system.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you one thing, man. Shout out to chat, man. Real quick, Facebook said, Marquita says, not worth the money right now. On Twitch, like I said, I bought mine for about $600 with 2 games and with disc reader. If I know that the games is playable on both, no way I'm going to put more money for clean graphics. Donnie also says, with tech and upgrade of new upgrade television makes sense for push for upgrade from business standpoint, an upgrade of new chips and hardware if that's what's happening. I get it.
I mean, really, this is really. I'll be honest. I will say one thing. This is the PS5 we really should have originally got.
Thank you.
Because I said this a long time ago. The world we didn't need new machines, and we're at the point now. Probably we would if we were only on the PS4 this whole time. Now I could be like, all right, we need a new. You know what I mean? But see, here's the difference. A lot of people don't have big PS5 libraries because there's this myth out there that there are no games available, which I don't understand that argument. It's freaking weird. I have 250 plus PS5 games. Not just games that are, this isn't my PS4 library that I play on the PS5. These are PS5 dedicated games. I have a big library. So when they said, hey, this is going to like enhance a lot of these older games, you're going to get, the frame rate's going to be better, resolution's better, sound chip, this, capacity, processing time. Everybody's saying it's about just graphics. Did they not listen to what was being said?
Yeah,
Much more than that.
Yeah.
If you really think that that's all it is, you really did not listen to what was being said, or perhaps, and I don't mean to sound degrading to people, but maybe you just don't understand what you heard. Because for those of us in the tech realm that really get what this technology is, it's awesome. It's really awesome. And IGN recently did this experiment. You can go on IGN right now. They built a PC that has equivalent technical specifications to the PS5 Pro. They said, what the heck? I mean, if we built a PC that does exactly what the PS5 Pro is going to do, how could we do it for the least amount of money? It cost them $850. Now, I know PCs are different. PCs do different things, and they do more than gaming. I get it. But if you really, if the argument is simply that you just want to make the very best possible gaming system for the least amount of money, the argument to get a PC, I guess, I mean, if you don't have PC, go get a PC.
Well, yeah,
right?
for sure.
I don't care.
Fill the void,
but some people don't want the hassle of building their own PC. They just don't want it. Some people really like the convenience of a console. I mean, I can do either. I'm fine, but it's not for everybody. That's the point. Everybody who's like, this isn't for me. True. Then they say, this isn't for anybody. Now, that's not true. That's called hyperbole. Lots of people are going to buy this, and I can tell you it's going to be a success because they've already sold out of removable optical drives.
Right.
That optional drive that was available this whole time spiked. The sales went up like 6,000% in 24 hours, and now you can't even find them. So don't tell me nobody's going to buy the PS5.
Not true. Pro. You're right. I'll put it like this. Like I said, for those that didn't get a PS5 on launch for sure, and haven't been on a train on since then, it's for them for sure. For those that want to definitely, like I said, for collectors and stuff like that, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like those, like you said, tech heads, absolutely, 100%. You know what I mean? For those that are, you're going to kill me for this one. For those that are economically inclined, it's not for them.
Totally.
So it's for those that are like in the chat saying, nah, I can see right now this is not worth the money because of my situation.
That's fine.
Of what I already have.
Fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo, listen, I get it, and I'm gonna be completely transparent here. I'm not particularly affluent. I'm not rich by any minute. But this is a hobby that guys gotta understand. I've been in this for over 40 years. I really love this thing. I'm not saying you guys don't, but I just do take this to a different level. And I think that at least one of us on PTC probably should get one to review it. And I figure, hey man, I'll do that. That's awesome.
Well, we already know you're going to.
I have the PSVR 2. I have that. I have the stuff that's going to use the capacity and the capabilities of this system probably maybe better than anyone. So listen, and if it sucks, I'll tell you it does. If I get this thing and I'm disappointed, I'm going to be real about it. I don't like everything Sony does. I am extremely critical of Sony because I love Sony. When you love something, you got to criticize. You got to take the deep dive and be like, yo, if you're breaking my heart, you're breaking my heart. Got to let you know. Sony has had a very wacky year. But when I saw them come out with this, I knew for months they were going to do this. I think most people kind of figured they were going to do a PS5 Pro. I understand it's not for everybody. They didn't come out and say it's for everybody. They're not advocating it's for everybody. But guys, understand, a lot of you are very hypocritical. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to call out any particular person, but I know how pissed off people were when they couldn't get a PS5 originally because they were like, Sony didn't make enough. They were thinking about all of us. Okay, well, now they're, that's beyond. We're moving to the next step here. And listen, it would have been funny if they came out and just called it the PS6.
How about that?
Everybody was like, wow,
we would have. Yeah, you're right.
You guys are so married. Look, did Nintendo get a lot of shit from people when they came out with the OLED version of the Switch? No,
that was perfect.
Everybody gives Nintendo a big pass.
Yeah.
It's like, and I know people are like, well, the price was different. I know, but it was something most of you probably already owned, and now you had a new and improved thing. So if you were, your words, economically inclined to do so, a lot of people did do the upgrade.
Yeah.
It's funny when people go, this is going to bomb, this isn't going to sell. Guys, you're looking me in the eye, and please tell me, you really think Sony doesn't do everything great? When it comes to hardware, man, they are batting damn near 1,000. Like, they really do well with hardware. They make good hardware, and they usually take a loss on the hardware they create. Don't forget, most consoles Sony makes, they sell them at a loss.
Yeah.
That's always been the way. They don't make their money on consoles. The hardware doesn't, so this is what these parts cost now. I hate to be like this, but we live in a world where everything's expensive.
You're right.
And the other thing is too, if Sony would have waited, they would have been, then it would have been Xbox's fight to lose. You know that there's a Switch 2 that's on the horizon. That's the other thing. Nobody's considering them. Like, Nintendo has basically all but shown their cards. There's another Switch going to come out. Are you guys going to complain about that? Is it just in the name? Like if Switch called, if you know, like everybody was like the Wii U is horrible. If they would have called the Wii U something different, maybe it would have worked.
I know,
Maybe
yeah,
they
yeah.
call it
Yeah.
Switch 2. You guys are wrapped up in names and numbers. Just if it's not for you, don't buy it. But man, like don't crap on the people that are like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get this new thing and ride or die, dude. It's gonna be cool.
It's not a matter of crapping. It's just a matter of from perspective. Like again, if you want something, go by all means go for it. Me, logically speaking, from a perspective of old school gamer that do collect physical, I just in good conscience, I'm not going to pay $700, even though I know I can afford it.
But if you
I'm just
paid
not going to pay
$780,
well, 780,
have.
whatever, apples and oranges, tomato. I'm just not going to. And again, God bless you.
It's weird.
Because
I'm not
we
trying
know,
to give
we
you a
know
hard
how
time, I
you are.
promise. But what was
Right.
the breaking point? Because I know for a fact that you bought the PS4 Pro, and that was
Yeah,
a good
I
investment. I
bought-
love the PS4
but see,
Pro, by the
here's
way.
here's the reason why I bought.
What changed in the
Well,
because that
well,
was like
no,
500 some dollars, right?
Here's
When
the
it
reason.
first...
Here's the reason, and I'm gonna say this: PS4 was out for quite a while,
Yeah.
quite a while, and we're talking like more than 5, 6 years, 7 years. And yeah, it was. I had it for a long time, and then when PS4 Pro
Opening browser.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead,
Yeah.
Smoke.
Go ahead.
when PS4 Pro came out, it was with the idea that okay, it's going to be improved,
Mm-hmm.
and it did. They showed up and they delivered. They delivered.
Right.
I was impressed, but then within with 2.5 years, PS5 comes out, and I was like, well, damn, I could have just waited for the price to drop and then get the. But because they gave me the impression that hey, this is going to be around for quite some time,
Mm-hmm.
and so after that, I said, okay, no problem. VR. You know, when I bought the first VR headset for PS5, I had it. All of a sudden, hey, we're going to step it up. We're going to change it. We're going to improve on it. Now, all the games you bought from that particular VR system is no longer going to be compatible with the new one. Are you freaking kidding me? And I'm just like,
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
You're
no,
raising a good
no,
point,
I'm
but
just-
that
I'm
is,
giving you
that
my
is
logic.
different, though.
no, let me just give you my logic. This is my logic, not yours or not Mark's, but my logic. My logic is, and again, I come from a common sense ideal that, hey, if I'm going to get something, I want something that's going to last and not just, and have variety, not just have a couple games and then they stop at a certain point and then they move on to the next thing. And as you mentioned before, it's like having a phone. I've had a cell phone for at least 7 years, 5 to 7 years before I moved on to a new upgrade. So I want to get my money's worth and hold on and be able to play a new. Now, for example, again, I'm very big about owning physical games. For some people, that's their choice, like yourself, that prefer to have a system that, and again, for you, it's like owning a car. You love collecting, like certain people love collecting cars, classic and all. That's you. You love collecting video game consoles. It's like collecting cars. Like I have my share of video game consoles that dates back to the 80s. I'm not like you, where you have every freaking system in your library. You could have a freaking museum if you choose to, just alone from your collection, from what I've seen. For me, I'm that guy that I got to not only own it, but I want to get my full money's worth out of it. Not just for a year, for 2 years, not even 3 years. I better damn well get why would I pay for something that's already similar to what I already have, graphic wise, and you're still going to give me good quality games and all? Why? And again, I understand certain people's mentality. I've heard different sides of it, but for me, logically speaking, why am I going to spend another almost $1,000 to get something that I already have? And then I'm paying double. And again, I know this is coming from someone who wants to own a digital and have a physical, because in case one day they decide to take something off digitally, I can still say I own the digital. The physical. So it depends on your taste. It's in my range of, okay, do I want this that bad? To me, this PS5 Pro, I don't need to have it. I could afford it, yes. I could really want it. but you got to really pitch. You got to do a better job than what they did in giving me the idea of that this is what you want. You want this system. The reason why you want this system is because we're doing this, we're doing that. It can make you coffee. It can do this. It can wash your car. It can do a lot of stuff that the PS5 can't do. And I'm not talking about, oh, well, quality and performance. And I don't care about any of that. To me, you know, a game looks good regardless. But you better have more than just specs. You better be talking to people that maybe not care about specs. They just want to know, how does it play? How better does it play? And not talk to people like they're talking down to them. For me, I just like logically, I can't, in my own good nature, cannot do a PS5 Pro. I'd rather wait for the PS6 to come out and see what it has to offer.
It's valid.
So
Your argument, and I apologize if I was.
No, it's not an argument. It's
I
just
was being dismissive because
that's not
at the onset of what I was saying is I actually really do agree. It is not for everybody.
Right.
And is $700 steep? Yeah, man. I totally get it. I do really get it. I know. I think you got to remember one thing, and I always forget this too. But like sometimes you got to think back and be like, Sony. At the end of the day,
right?
They are first a hardware company. They're an electronics company, and secondly, they're a movie production company, and thirdly, they're a chip manufacturer, and fourthly, they're a video game company. And now I know some people are gonna be like, "That's not really true," but it kind of is because that's their bread and butter. That's where they came from, is making electronics, Walkman and disc players, and so it doesn't shock me that they try to get a little more value and a little more mileage out of existing tech. It's weird because I almost feel like if they here's a scenario, and be honest, and if I'm talking out of my ass, please call me out. This is my scenario. This is what I'm thinking. Like when the first PS5s came out, okay, if they came out with, we're going to come out with a couple different versions. We're going to come out with the PS5 standard, comes with a disc drive, everything. Then we're going to give you the PS5 discless. It doesn't have discs, okay? It's just digital. Then we're going to give you an option for the PS5 Pro. If this was available at launch, it has upgraded specs. It's like through the roof. It's ridiculous, but yeah, man, it's more expensive. If you want to pay the money, it's available. So like, whatever it was, 4 years ago, if all three versions came out, would there be the hubbub? Would people be like, "Oh, okay, I get it"? Like if you
at that time, I don't think so, because you have options. You gave people options from day one, and that's what I mean. Like if it came out at the same time as that was the one thing I did like about the PlayStation 5 when it first came out. They gave you options. They said you can go digital or you can go with the disc, but you had choices.
Yeah, I'm just saying
hypothetically,
if they would have provided the third version and said, like, at the launch, be like, hey man, you would be essentially jumping up from a PS4 to a PS5 Pro. Like
I would have done the Pro. You know why?
Yeah.
Because then
I would too. Yeah. Okay.
I would have done the Pro because then I know I don't have to worry about years doubling up and buying the same product again, because you already gave me what I needed.
On those lines, I just want to reiterate something because you made a claim. I'm sorry, man. I had to look. So the PS4, the first PS4 that dropped in North America was in November of 2013.
Correct.
3 years later, in November, the PS4 Pro came out. It was only 3 years difference. This time, it's 4 years. So we actually got more mileage this generation out of the PS5 than we did the PS4. It's crazy. So it's like, I know, and look, we're talking about a bigger issue here, the economy. Like, people don't have the money. I understand times are tough. Sometimes, I understand there are a lot of factors individually. I lived in that era. I lived through not having the means to do a damn thing, and it sucked, and I hated it. And fortunately, at almost 50 years old, I'm almost 50, now I'm kind of like, all right, I'm gonna treat myself. I know it's expensive, but you know what? I can do this. And I promise a lot of people out there, this isn't a humble brag. I swear to God it's not, but like, we're in just different situations. You will get there.
Of course.
If this is something that's of importance to you, and when the PS8 comes out and then a year later they announce the PS8 Pro, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna get it. And I remember why, because I remember that time. I thought Civic was crazy for doing that, but times change and people's positions change and your resources increase. I
Yeah,
get it, and
yeah.
it's yeah. So like maybe for a month, like I'll be a little bit more, fastidious with my spending in one area and be like, I'm gonna buy this ostentatious, stupid, crazy thing. Like, listen, man, if everybody drove a Lamborghini, Lamborghinis wouldn't be special. All right, I know. Like, not everybody needs a car. Not everybody needs a Lamborghini. If you're buying a PS5, it's cool. Like that's the baseline. For people that want to go freaking crazy and be irresponsible, go get your PS5 Pro. Join me at the mountaintop, I
So
guess.
so
I
I
don't
so
know.
I see the reason because
I don't
because
know.
in on chat they're going ham on chat. Donnie
Oh yeah,
says
yeah. Let me have it. Let me
Donnie
have
says
it.
Sony's timing of chip making price increases that they don't have to worry about from a financial standpoint that gives them a leg up on Xbox and cost of construction materials. He also says economically Sony is in a position to gouge the market while the competition has to make a financial decision on cost of hardware. Yeah, I get. So it's like this.
Okay, now that's a great point. No, 100% right.
Right. Yeah. Now
You
I
got
can I
you
can I
have
can
to
reason. Yeah. Now I can see.
you have to play your listen. That is a freaking very astute observation. Here's the thing. So you play to your strengths.
Right.
So
Right.
Sony's strength is like I said, they're a manufacturer of electronic devices. They can leverage that and do what they have to do in the marketplace to get whatever traction they need. Whereas Microsoft, what we've seen with all their acquisitions and everything, they're more about buying from the software side and
Yeah.
everybody's complaining about
Yeah.
Sony doing a stranglehold in
Now
one
now
particular
Xbox
area.
got to come. Yeah.
Do y'all not
Yeah.
realize what
Yeah.
Xbox has been? And I'm not demonizing them. I'm simply saying they're doing the best they can in a very unstable, very uncertain post-COVID
Right.
market where nothing is a lock. We're talking about when companies like Annapurna go under. Yeah, I mean, there's a financial thing behind that. When developers are laying off and everything, it's so tough now. Yeah, could the PS5 Pro flop? Yeah, man, it totally could. There have been a lot of things that look great on paper, and then when they came out, it just didn't work well. Like the PSTV. Remember the Vita?
Yeah. I remember that. I remember that.
Everybody was excited for it. Everybody wanted one, and
Yep.
Sony was like, "Oh wow, cool," because it did great in Japan, and they weren't even going to bring that to the States. But there was such a demand where they're like, "Hey man, that's cool. Like, yeah, let's do this thing.
That's
Launch
right,
it in the
that's
United
right.
States." The price was right. The accessibility was right. It was a lot of fun. It was cool.
That's
and
right.
It flopped,
Yep.
and I don't understand it. I can't to this day understand why something like that would flop. I just don't get it. It wasn't expense. I don't know. Somebody want to in the chat want to explain? I don't get that. So,
Right.
so it is it's a big gamble.
It
Yeah,
is.
man. Corporate greed. I don't know. If you think that's all of what it's about, probably a little. But guys, I really believe me when I say I bet you it costs. I bet you it costs more than 700 or whatever 600. What is this thing? Is 700?
700. Yeah.
700. I probably think they're breaking even.
Yeah,
I bet.
yeah.
I bet they're breaking even. I don't think they're making a big profit. Like nobody's sitting there going, "Oh man, we're just going to rake it in," because I know that they sold a lot of consoles in their history, almost every one, all the handhelds, all this stuff. They sell hardware at a loss. Google it. Google me.
Yeah.
Google it and tell me I'm
Nah,
wrong.
you're right, you're right,
I'm
you're right.
not trying to be that guy, but like it is true. So I don't know. Look, nobody makes me upgrade my phone every 2 years, right? I know I can if I want to, but
Yeah.
it's not absolutely mandatory.
Necessary. Yeah.
Some people love their phone so much they will upgrade their phone like every 6 months, man.
Yeah.
They gotta have the new thing. That's your priority, and nobody would sit there and be like, "I think that's stupid. That's dumb. Who the hell is that for?" Apparently, it's for a lot of people who have different priorities than I do technologically. Like my phone, I don't know. I'm with Smoke on this one. I think we have the same phone. Oh, it's a Galaxy. I don't know, 20.
24S. Yeah.
Oh man, you're beyond me. Yeah, I got the 22, bro. I'm older than you. I got this ancient ass phone. So like, I like it. It works. I'm not, but like I don't feel that need on a basis of like a mobile device, but like a gaming device where I know that that's like my thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm a sucker. Maybe I'm falling for it. Maybe I am the fanboy that people think. I don't know. I get excited for this stuff, dude.
Dude, I feel you. I feel
I'm-
you
I'm-
because again, I go back to me with goddamn Google Stadia. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, listen, I was excited for the turnaround of the generation era of us playing games and streaming. I'm like, dude, because like I said, I wasn't locked into like I'm gonna collect games and all that too. I was locked into the actual aspect of
Yeah.
the new era of gaming that we was gonna get to You know what I'm
I
saying?
told you guys years ago. I was like, we don't need a PS5. Will I get one? Yes, and then when it came out, parts of it, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Here's what disappoints me. And Mark Cerny during the dissertation earlier this week when they revealed the PS5 Pro, he touched on it. He touched on my biggest gripe about the PS5. You have to pick performance versus visuals.
Yeah.
So I hate when companies go.
I hate when they do that, man.
Look
Yeah.
how great these visuals are. Look at how great they are. Great. So like when you're playing a game that needs a higher frame rate, or a fighting game, or a driving game, or shoot 'em up game, any kind of game that like
You're
is
suffering.
a game. You know, Gran Turismo. I'm not playing Gran Turismo at 30
For the visuals.
frames per second so that I can just look at the reflection of the car there because of ray tracing. The PS5 Pro fixes that problem. I'm like, wow, I don't have to choose anymore. It doesn't feel like Sophie's Choice where I got to pick like either thing. I can play with performance and have it look like a PS4 game, or I can make it look like a Da Vinci painting and play it at like blah 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 frame rates, man. Like this fixes that. I dig that. I'm not gonna lie, man. I think that's super impressive. And yeah, man.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I guarantee you this. And y'all are gonna be pissed. All these people are going, who's this for? Who's this for? Watch. Oh my God, day one when this thing sells out and all the scalpers on eBay, and I know we're gonna be talking about it. When's this thing coming out? When's the PS5 coming? You can pre-order it. What, September? In a week and a half, I think. 23rd. Is that the pre-order? And then they come out again in November. Sony loves November. When it comes out in November, and everybody's gonna be pissed off again because it's gonna be scalpers on eBay selling them for $2,000, and it's just no. Again, man, I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Listen, that's
gamers.
the.
Everybody's gonna complain.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing too, man. Listen.
I'm done.
Chat, you already know, man. It's a PS5
They
Pro.
hate me. They hate me right now. I can feel it. I can feel their eyes.
That's a question for the chat. PS5 Pro, is it a cop or is it a drop? Is it grab or is it trash?
I'm not looking at the chat right now, but is anybody feeling me on this? Does anybody be like, okay, well, he's making a good point? Or am I just completely just alienating everybody?
You are entitled because that's your preference.
And again, like the chat agrees. There's like a lot of people who bash it, upgrade that iPhone every 6 to 9 months, man, which is like, yeah, I understand it. You get that. For sure. It's according to your needs. It's your
priorities.
Needs. And that's it. It's according to your needs, chat. Your needs. My need, I don't need it. I mean, could I upgrade it? I could switch that out and upgrade if I wanted to. That's my choice. It's not a need. When the PS5 was announced originally, that was a want. That was a want because I knew it was a flat out upgrade from the PS4. PS5 Pro, I can't. It's not a want. You know what I'm saying? You can't say it's a want. You know what I'm saying? It's like
I'd just rather hold out and wait for PS6 to come out.
Because I swear to God, and I do mean this, all of you are bringing up great points. They're perfect. I totally get what you're saying.
Right? Yeah.
Did they shoot the moon? Yeah, I know they did. I would probably.
And I mean, and not only that, but you see everyone's reaction online.
Everybody hates it.
Yeah, they because again, you have to ask yourself on the bigger scope of things. See, you have a knowledge of the tech and a little bit of the history. A lot of people, the average person that just wants to get a good game system that has one, they bought it, they put their money into it, then they look at it as Sony trying to dip in their pockets again. You already raised the prices on video games. Now you're almost then you're already trying to play them by saying, look at Star Wars Outlaws. Game comes out, you pay $100 easy to play it 4 days early. Hell, we went through this with Warhammer. You play it 4 days in advance, you pay an additional $30. That's almost $100. Game comes out, what happens? There's some bugs and you'll have to, all the gameplay that you did in those 4 days, all those chapters you completed, you'll now have to delete because the bug won't allow you. So, you're dipping in people's pockets. And so it gets to a point where you're like, yo, you're trying to nickel and dime me to the audience, to the broader scale of the audience. They just don't have the time or the means. Yeah. And also, you got to remember, too, you got to take into account, when PS5 came out, there were issues. People forget, just like, listen, we're not about sugarcoating things. and I'm
going.
gonna
I
call
am
it
listening. I gotta
Yeah,
hold on,
go
right
ahead.
back. You guys
Yeah,
go.
go ahead. Nah,
You guys go.
Go ahead. Now go ahead, smoke. Nah, I agree with you with that, man.
You know, there were issues with PS5
Right.
that a lot of people were having issues with. You know, whether it was the size of the how many games it can hold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had to get an extender. You had to put in a chip to extend it out, the memory and all that stuff. There were still issues there. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to put $700 just for them to say, "Oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you. In order to get, you got to buy.
Yeah.
You can spend another,
Yeah.
maybe another 200. No, thank you. I got.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, to the audience, if it's not broke, don't try to.
Yeah, right. That's the funny.
reinvent the wheel.
That's the funny thing. Like I said, it's situational, man. Walk in the chat says, "I agree with your point of view. Somebody's situation will remain the same. The only reason I can see grabbing a pro version is if my old one breaks. That's probably the same reason for me. If my PS5 breaks, dude, all right, yeah, there's reason for me to get the PS Pro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go and buy another PS5 because that feels redundant. You know what I'm saying? Like to get another when a new upgrade is available, yeah, I'll go grab that. That's my situation. It's different for everybody else's, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, listen, it's going to be really interesting, man.
I have a plan. I have a plan that's going to the PS5 Pro, but it's a plan that's in the works of another plan.
I had a bunch of people outside my house with like torches ready to burn my house down, talking about, "We heard you're going to buy a PS5 Pro." No, you know what? You know what I really need to upgrade? I need to get the Civic-minded Bladder Pro, so that when I drink all this.
Just get an empty bottle, man, right next to you. There you go.
Yo, dog, bro. The thought crossed my mind. And this thing has, look at this. This thing has a huge opening too.
Oh, cuz what, man?
Not quite big enough.
All right, Shannon.
Oh my God,
dude, I can't, man. Listen, oh my God,
y'all are funny, man.
If you see Sid walk away and you hear him growling, you know what's up.
Yo, I can't. Listen, we are going to end that there. Oh, breaking news! Breaking news coming out of PTC, man. The PS6 is set to release.
I hate y'all.
April of 2025. There we go. According to Sony Blog. I'm playing with you. Nah, it's no breaking news. I'm just playing with you, man.
Oh, wait. I thought you were going to announce
I already pre-ordered it.
I thought you were going to announce that Civ was going to be taking over Sony, and they were going to make him the new.
Oh, that'd be crazy, dog. That'd be crazy.
They would not want my help, nor do they need.
Oh, that'd be sad. That'd be mad crazy, dog. If that happens, yo. For real.
Are we really gonna end the show? Because
we are, dude. We are.
Really?
This is yo. Yeah, we listen. I love it, man.
So all I had to do was hold out like another minute to pee. I came back here thinking, okay, round 2, man. Let's go.
Nah, man. I can't, man.
All right.
We go. That's gonna be it for the show. I'm done. Oh my God, I need to rest up, man. This is so much fun, man. Listen, you know we'll be back next month, man, for all brand new episode as well, too, man. So make sure you already know what to do, people, man. This is Endgame Credits, man. Make sure you share the stream to everybody, man, so they won't miss out on this amazing content for sure, man. If you know that we also have social medias that you got to print, that matter of fact, QR code is right bottom over there. No, down. There we go. I'm putting it the right way. Down, bottom right. Go ahead with your phone, QR code it, man. That's our links to everything. Hit us up in our email at ptcgamingshow@gmail.com, man, for any gaming questions that you want for us to answer on the show. We checked our emails regularly as well. And, of course, we have a community that's just for y'all on Facebook called PTC Nation. Just type it in the Facebook search, man. PTC Nation is easily, man. I mean, we grow in population like crazy. PC Nation is for y'all. I mean, I'm talking about you can post anything in there as far as gaming related goes, man. Everybody gets hyped, man. You can sell games. You can buy games. It don't matter what you want to do, man. You can play games with people, find people to play with.
If anybody wants to sell me a slightly used copy of Concord.
If you got Concord, you better make sure your price is good. You know what I'm saying? Listen, put your gamer tags anywhere. Listen, you trying to find games that or people don't want to play with games, or you want to hook up with people. Listen, it's the Tinder of video games. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I say Tinder of video games, but it's the Tinder of video games. PTC Nation is
It's not the Tinder.
It's the PTC Nation is for all of y'all, so we can pass the controller together, man. Listen, I'm done, cuz with y'all. I can't, dog. Listen, this is a fun show, man. Like for real. We're going to talk more about the next episode as we get closer closer to the Game Awards, we're going to talk about, a Game of the Year watch as well, too. I'm probably going to talk more about Sonic and Shadow Generations because that's going to be out by the time the next show's out as well, too. So look out for my review of Sonic and Shadow Generations as well, too, because that might be included in Game of the Year. Who knows? We'll see what happens, man, but you're going to see me play it. Other than that, listen, we're getting closer and closer to this year. The season's almost over, man. We got the PTC Passies Awards show coming up as well, too. That's also in December, man, so look out for that because we're going to do our famous awards show that we always do. What was that, 4th annual Passies, I believe? Fourth annual Passies? That's crazy, man. So, listen, y'all going to be set for a great fall season, man. As always, when September comes, I'm excited, man. So, that's going to be it, people. Listen, we'll catch you on online, on our Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter. Wherever you're going to catch us, want to talk to us, man, we'll be there for sure. So, with Smoke, with Civ, I am McNux. This has been Pass Controller, and as always, people, get good.
Decent
get a third job so you can afford your PS5 Pro. Good night, everyone. I'm so sorry. I went on. That was going back to old CPC. That was really bad.
People will come up and see it.
Look, I like when you get riled up. You're the best.
No, I wasn't riled up.
I love it. No, not that.
Right.